Welcome back everyone to a brand new tier list video. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list on like every movie so far that I think I've watched like the whole movie in May 2024. May 2024 still isn't finished. May this year still isn't finished yet completely. But I just wanted to do this tier list now so it's done, and this video now so it's done, you know. So yeah, and I've got a lot of movies that I really want to talk about, so I think this is gonna be fun. I don't really know what to say. Yeah. Let's begin with Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've seen Indiana Jones 1, 2, 3, and obviously the fourth one right now. I haven't seen the fifth movie. I haven't seen Dial of Destiny, but you know, last time I saw I saw like the first Indiana Jones, then I went to the second one, then the third one, and then I took a big break from the movies. But then I thought like, alright, what's some franchise I haven't watched finished? And I was just like, oh, Indiana Jones. I haven't seen, I vaguely remember the fourth movie a bit, but I thought like, oh, maybe I should watch it again. This is definitely one of the weaker Indiana Jones movies, but I think it's still a good movie, definitely. It's still got a lot of adventure. It's still got a lot of that Indiana Jones style or whatever. It's got a lot of things to like. But I do think this movie, maybe though, I mean, it's got the adventure style. It's got adventures. It's got quite a few memorable scenes. I do think that there is some obviously. I think that a few action scenes are just a bit over the top, maybe, and I think this movie's a bit silly. Well, I don't think it's as serious as the other Indiana Jones movies, but it's still a good movie. You know, this movie, a lot of people really don't like it. I mean, I don't think it's a very good movie compared to the first three Indiana Jones movies. This isn't very good, but it's still, I still think it's a good movie. I don't really know what to say. Yeah, maybe I've missed something to say about this, but it's going up in good. We've got The Incredibles, and I'm gonna stick this movie up in very good. This is a movie that I think that a lot of people are gonna put in like really good or even amazing, but for me, even though this movie, it's quite a dark, like, animation Disney, I think this is, I don't know, Pixar maybe, movie, but, you know, a lot of people are saying that this movie's like, a few people are even saying The Incredibles isn't a children's movie, here's why, and I'm just like, well, I think it's extremely clear that the movie's a children's movie. I mean, yes, the movie does have, like, actually the storytelling in this movie is pretty damn good. You know, we've got some memorable scenes and we've got memorable characters and stuff like that, but I mean, it's nothing like insane as a children's movie, you know. It's nothing like a big twist or whatever, like Coco or Zootopia or anything. But I do appreciate this movie though, and I did know, and I saw the ending coming. I knew what the ending was going to be. I'm going to try not to spoil anything, but so it's just, I think it's a very good movie, especially for being a children's movie. But I don't know, maybe I didn't have that big of an impact on the movie as everyone else did. Now we've got A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Warriors. This movie is going to go up in meh for me. So, just like all the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies, it's pretty goofy, you know. From the third movie, I mean, the third Nightmare on Elm Street movie is pretty damn goofy, but it still takes itself quite damn seriously. And then the fourth movie was where stuff started to get quite silly, and this movie's very silly. Not as silly as the sixth movie, but oh boy. This movie has, I really do appreciate the creativity in this movie. It has a lot I think the movie has quite a lot of memorable scenes and kills and stuff. I think the movie has really much creativity, which I really, really appreciate, just like the other Nightmare on Elm Street movies. But the story just isn't that interesting. The characters aren't that interesting. It's just, I don't know, man. The movie's just weird. And then Freddy Krueger is only me, but he has like this like weird makeup now, you know. He's like, especially in that dinner scene or whatever, if you know what I mean. And then it just feels like he's changed a bit of appearance. I don't know what to say about this movie, you know. I don't know. But Show Me Love, or fucking Åmål, whatever you want to call this movie. This is a Swedish movie. This is a pretty popular Swedish movie, and I think it's only quite popular in Sweden. I don't think it's a movie that is very popular anywhere else. But this is a movie because I live in Sweden. I saw this movie on Netflix, and I think this movie is really good. I don't think it's a 10 out of 10 movie, but it's basically this movie about this, like, this not popular, shy young girl or something, or maybe she's like 13 or 15 or something, I don't know. And basically, she's in love with this popular girl who everyone knows in the school and stuff. But she like, and then the popular girl is, it's basically just a very easy but very well made love story. And I don't really know what to say about this movie, you know. It's a very, very, it's a quite, like, you know, the characters in this movie are definitely, but the way that they make the teenagers in this movie, the way that, how relatable the teenagers are in this movie or whatever, from real life, is on spot. It's so good. This movie isn't perfect because I felt like the ending could have maybe been a bit longer. I felt the movie could have been a bit longer. I wanted to know a bit more about the characters and stuff, and I thought that the movie had some doesn't have that much of like a okay, I see what is happening moment or whatever. It's a really good movie, and it's a very simple idea and stuff, but it executes it really well. I don't really know what to say, you know. Maybe I have like a letterbox review or something where I maybe explain the movie better or something like that, but otherwise I don't know. Now we've got Leprechaun 4, or Leprechaun 4 in Space, whatever you want to call this movie. This movie's going in the bad tier. I knew that this movie wasn't going to be good, but a lot of people are saying that this movie is like terrible and stuff. I don't think this movie is terrible. I don't think it's a very bad movie. Wouldn't call it very bad, but it's definitely a bad movie. You know, the space setting in the movie, I guess it's kind of called Leprechaun in Space. I mean, it's very goofy, it's weird and stuff. The Leprechaun played by Warwick Davis is still the Leprechaun in this movie, you know. He's definitely not as funny and stuff as he is in the first 3 movies or whatever, I think. But, you know, I don't know. The CGI in this movie isn't that good at all. The characters aren't that interesting. I think this movie is a bit too long. I think the movie's slow. I don't think that the story of the movie is interesting. I don't think that the characters are interesting. This is just, I don't know, man. This is just a movie that, yeah, for more detail, you could check. I probably have maybe some like letterbox reviews for this movie or whatever. But it's a bad movie. You know, the first Leprechaun movie. Well, I'm gonna get into that in another video, maybe. Okay, because well, I don't know what to say. Now we've got Joker. This movie is wild. This movie's going up in really good. Joker, this is basically... Well, it's Joker. Well, this movie doesn't really have that much to do with... I don't know how you pronounce it. How do you say it? Gotham? Whatever. It's not that much like, oh, Batman and stuff. You know, they definitely do say, like... Bruce Wayne and stuff in this movie. They have some Batman thingies, quotes or whatever in the movie, whatever. But this movie, I don't know exactly how you pronounce his name. I think it's like Joaquin Phoenix or something. I don't know. He is amazing as the Joker in this movie. I mean, this movie is really wild. It's a very, very dark movie. And it's very... I don't know what to say, but I thought this movie was really good. It was close to being a 10 out of 10 movie, but I feel like the laughing in the movie, maybe the laughing is just, you know, the Joker does have a disability in this movie that, like, it's like he laughs sometimes, and he has one of these little notes where he says, like, excuse my laughter or whatever, but maybe a bit too much laughing in the movie, you know. I felt like movie did have some missed potential, but just tiny weeny parts of that movie, you know. I don't know what to say. This movie, for what it wants to be, is really good. It's a very dark movie. It's a pretty creepy... It's like a creepy movie, actually. But it's really good. I definitely do recommend this movie. Alright, now we've got Extraction. This is a movie that... I was planning to see a bit later, but then the movie just... This movie, let's just get into it. This movie's going up in good. Basically, this movie's about, like, I don't know, it's about this, like, drug lord or whatever, and that's, like, kidnapping this child or whatever, and then this person, I forgot what his name is. I think it's, like, Tyler or something, played by Chris Hemsworth. It has to, like, save the kid and stuff like that. You know, it's a very, very much action movie. This movie has, like, it has extremely much action in it. It's a very much action movie, definitely. And I do think this movie is a bit like, you know, when I felt like the character, maybe I felt like Tyler, played by Chris Hemsworth, the character was maybe just a bit too overpowered, you know. It was, like, extremely strong and stuff in this movie. And I don't know what to say, you know. The movie has some good blood, some good gore in this movie. The fight scenes are really good, even though they're overreacting with them quite a lot. But I don't really know what to say. But the story is quite simple. And I did think that they maybe could have added a bit more to the story of the movie. It's very funny because David Harbour's in this movie, and he's great in this movie. I love David Harbour really, really much. I don't really know what to say. Don't know what else to say about this movie. It's a action movie that has really, really much action and super much action. Definitely an action movie. There's nothing in this movie, I think, that holds it from being not an action movie or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's a simple premise, but it's done pretty well. But it's not, like, very good. You know, the first time I saw it, I thought that this movie was very good, but then I thought a bit, and I was just like, you know, it's a good movie, but it's something that I can definitely see a lot of people do, just the idea coming up in the brain or whatever. I don't know what to say. Now we've got Pulp Fiction, and this is going to be pretty damn controversial, I think. Pulp Fiction, I really like this movie. And my expectations were extremely high because this movie is in, like, top 8 on the IMDb top 250 best movies in the world. This movie was, like, top 8, and it had, like, a 8.9 out of 10 on IMDb, which is incredibly good. Really, really, really good. So my expectations were very high for this movie. But it's going up in very good, okay? This movie, you know, I really like the characters. John Travolta in this movie, amazing. Samuel L. Jackson in this movie, amazing. Uma Thurman or whatever, I don't know how you say. She's also amazing in this movie. Bruce Willis in this movie is also amazing. This movie, it's like stories, the life of like 3 different characters. This movie kind of, you know. Bruce Willis being a boxer. And then we've got John Travolta. Obviously, he's not called that in the movie, but I forgot the person's name. John Travolta, I think his name was like, what was it, Vincent? I think he's called Vincent. John Travolta plays the person Vincent, I think he's called, in this movie. And he's like, you know, it's the story about his girlfriend and stuff. And then we've got Samuel L. Jackson, the stories about like him and Vincent and stuff. This movie has some very cool moments, you know, but I do feel like it's a movie that I could see this, the idea that they were aiming for in this movie, to a lot of people would think of the idea, you know. Calling this movie really good, it borders probably on like being really good, you know. First I thought like, alright, yeah, you know what, this is probably a 5 out of 5 movie. But even though the movie is a bit like slow in the beginning, I don't really care about that, because I was pretty damn entertained in this movie. You know, maybe the movie's just a bit too slow in the beginning, you know. This movie has a few like goofy moments, like funny and just like kind of fun moments, and then a few of the moments in the movie are like pretty damn dark. I don't know what to say about this movie. It's a very good movie. It's going up there, right? I know it's controversial, but yeah. Let's see, how many other ones do I have? Oh boy, oh boy. Slender Man. This movie's going in very bad. First, when I knew that this movie wasn't going to be good, a Netflix horror movies on Netflix are usually not that good. I mean, the best horror movie that I've seen on Netflix is maybe like, fuck, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I thought the Fear Street movies on Netflix were pretty damn good, but a Slender Man movie, my hopes were not high when I saw this movie. When I was, you know, when I went into Letterboxd, the reviews on this movie and stuff, the amount of stars, I think this movie had like 1.2 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd. Like all the reviews together, and I was just like, holy shit, is it really that bad? And then when I went into IMDb, I saw that this movie had a 3.3 out of 10, which is terrible. I don't think this movie I don't think this movie is really that bad as everyone else says it is. But first I thought the movie was like a 4 out of 10. First I thought the movie was just bad, you know. But then I was just like, okay, yeah, you know, no, I don't appreciate this. And then I thought the movie was very bad, you know. This movie isn't really scary because it has the opportunity to be a scary, like, pretty creepy movie, and it has some creepy moments and stuff. But first of all, the CGI in this movie definitely isn't great. Second of all, this movie has like all the horror cliches, so many, you know, really dumb characters making dumb decisions. It has the predictable jump scares. It has the like weird scenes in the movie that come out of nowhere and are quite unnecessary and don't really make any sense. This is such a wannabe horror movie, and this is definitely a horror movie, but it's not, you know, a horror movie doesn't have to be full. For a horror movie to be good, it doesn't have to be full of jump scares. It doesn't have to have any jump scares. It's just about the movie being like creepy and unnerving, whatever. You know, Hereditary, for example, I don't think that movie, had that many jump scares at all. I think maybe Hereditary. I think Hereditary only had like 2 or 3 jump scares, or maybe even 0. I don't know. And I thought Hereditary was amazing. This movie clearly doesn't understand what a horror movie. This is such a, I don't know, man. The movie's very bad. That's enough said. We've got Mad Max now. Mad Max Fury Road. This is I don't know, man. I saw this movie out of nowhere. My dad really wanted to watch Furiosa on cinema. And then he was just like, all right, well, we'll watch Mad Max Fury Road before we see this movie. And I actually saw Mad Max Fury Road and Furiosa the same day. So that was pretty cool. Mad Max Fury Road is a movie that a lot of people think is like 10 out of 10. Think that movie is amazing. A lot of people think the movie is really good. And I think the movie is very good. You know, I think this is like an 8 out of 10 movie, maybe. It's a pretty weird concept for an action movie. This movie has great action, obviously. The story in this movie is pretty damn good, too. It doesn't have that much of a story, but it has a little bit of one. The cinematography in this movie is amazing. Really, really incredibly good. This movie is really beautiful to just watch. Just seeing the wasteland in this movie is really, 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 really well done. But you know, like half of this movie, whatever, maybe a bit more, is just this kind of like road trip and car versus car, and there's like shooting out of the car windows and stuff. It's a pretty damn basic action things, but they do it really, really well. And that's the good thing about the movie. But it just feels like it was maybe a bit too, maybe it just felt a bit too serious sometimes, you know, because sometimes it's weird, because sometimes it's funny. Sometimes this movie has some like small comedy moments or whatever. You know, the character Nux, I think he's called, for example, played by, holy shit, I forgot his name. The person who plays Renfield in the movie Renfield is the person who plays Nux in this movie, I think he's called. And he's a very, very good character, but he has like some funny lines and stuff that just don't really fit sometimes when the movie gets like really serious all of a sudden, and all of these really insane action scenes. I don't know what to say, really. You know, I don't know, man. And now we have Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, or Furiosa, whatever you want to call a movie. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, or Mad Max Furiosa, whatever the hell you want to call a movie. This movie I saw in cinemas, and it was a pretty damn good cinema experience, which I liked a lot. But just like the first movie, I think it's a very good movie. I think this is like an 8 out of 10 movie. This movie, just like the first movie, has great characters. It's a really beautiful movie to look at. This wasteland is really well done. You know, the villain is good. Chris Hemsworth playing, I think his name is Dementus, is really good in this movie. There's definitely really much to love about this movie, but it's not amazing, you know. It's close to being really good, but it just feels like, I felt like the movie could be just a bit shorter, and the ending was obviously very obvious, that Furiosa, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, would do that to Dementus. Maybe, I don't think I want to say, because I guess that's going to be a massive spoiler and stuff, but, you know, I don't know what to say. It's just, I could put this movie in really good, but saying that this movie is really good, you know, I'm actually going to put Show Me Love in probably very good, because it's a pretty basic story, but this movie's going in very good. I had a damn good time. I wouldn't say that the movie's really good. I wouldn't say that the movie's amazing, 10 out of 10, Don't think it's a really good movie. I don't think it's 9 out of 10. I do think it's like an 8 out of 10 movie, though. It's a pretty damn good movie, definitely. And I don't really know what to say. Yeah, you know, I don't know if I like Mad Max Fury Road more, or if I like Furiosa more, because the movies are quite different. You know, it's definitely both of them are definitely Mad Max movies. It's not like they aren't, but the story in the movies, you know, Furiosa has a much more of a story than Mad Max Fury Road had. So that's that, I guess, but both of the movies are still pretty similar to each other, even though the stories in both of the movies are quite different, you know. But this is like a prequel, I think. I mean, this is like a backstory to Furiosa and stuff when she was young and stuff. And this is a very well-made movie. I don't really know what to say. Alright, we've got more, oh boy. And now we've got Bodies. And yes, the movie's actually called Bodies. It's called Bodies, and then you say that 3 times. Bodies. Quite, this movie's name. I thought this movie was... Nah, okay, listen, wait. It's funny because a lot of people think that this movie is quite good, I think. You know, when I checked in on Letterboxd, it was a high % of people that thought that this movie was like 4 out of 5 stars. Or like an 8 out of 10 movie, whatever. Something like that, maybe 7 out of 10. This is basically a Gen Z horror movie. And it's really clear that it is that. This is also an A24 horror movie. You know, A24 has made a lot of movies that I really like, you know. Dream Scenario, I think is like an 8 out of 10 movie. Hereditary, I think is like 10 out of 10. And then Civil War, I think is like a 9 out of 10 movie. They have made some really... A24 has made a lot of movies that I really appreciate, and A24 is usually make usually pretty damn creative movies. I really liked X. I think X is like an 8 out of 10 movie. Pearl, I didn't actually... Controversial opinion, but I didn't like Pearl as much as X. But I still think that Pearl is a pretty damn good movie. They have made a lot of movies that I really, really like and appreciate. And this is definitely... you know... I'm not surprised that this movie is made by A24. Now, even though for what this movie wants to be... Even though that this movie wants to be annoying characters, very much Gen Z stuff and something, the movie has a really, really basic story to it. It's basically just people who play a game called Bodies. And basically you have to, and then it's a game where you have to like go around the house when it's all, you have to guess who the killer is and stuff, and then that happens, and then the game gets like actually like real and stuff. I don't know, but it's a very basic story, you know. It's not something that we haven't seen before, and I thought the movie was maybe just a bit too long, you know. The movie was quite slow. The characters in this movie are just so weird, because the characters in this movie are pretty damn annoying, but I don't think the characters are meant for you to like them. You know, I think the most likable character that I think in this movie, I think is this character right here. This one right here, this character. I thought she was the most likable character in the movie, maybe. Everyone, but even for what this movie wants to be, I didn't think it was very good. I think it's like a 5 out of 10 movie, like it says there, 2.5 out of 5 stars, something like that. I don't really know what to say. This movie's hard to explain, but yeah, it's going up in 5 out of 10. It's going up in mad because I don't know, man. Alright, now we've got Space Jam. One of the most... definitely a pretty damn weird movie that I've seen with a really random story. Basically, this might maybe, you know, I haven't seen a lot of basket movies at all. Actually, I think I've actually only seen like one actually basket movie, and I think that's Space Jam. I haven't seen Hoop Dreams, for example, or anything like that, but I've seen Space Jam. And this movie, you know, this movie's going up in good. I don't think it's a very good movie or anything. I don't think it's really good, and I don't think and I definitely don't think it's amazing. But for what this movie wants to be, it's a good movie, all right? In my opinion, you know, this is definitely a children's movie. It's a very weird and goofy movie, but it's pretty fun and entertaining to watch. And Michael Jordan in this movie literally is also pretty damn fun and entertaining to watch. He was definitely the right person to be in this movie. I don't really know what to say. For what this movie wants to be, it's a good movie. You know, the characters are good, I guess, they're great and whatever. But the movie does... Even Bill Murray is in this movie. I never thought that Bill Murray would be in a movie like this. I mean, he's been in Ghostbusters, obviously, and in the Ghostbusters movies, and those movies, the first Ghostbusters movie is pretty goofy, and the second one is even more goofy. But this movie is also a much more goofy movie, and it feels like Bill Murray being in this movie is just it was quite surprising and funny. I don't know what to say. This movie's going up in good, and that's that. You know, it's not a perfect movie. I knew what I was expecting the ending from a long way ago. You know, it's not like nothing surprising, but it's a good movie, especially for what it wants to be. Now we've got Meet the Parents. This is just a random Netflix comedy movie. This was just a random... I was looking through Netflix, and then I saw this movie. I'd heard a few people talk about this movie. Not that many people, but just a few people talk about, like, Meet the Parents. And I was just like, all right, I think this is just going to be another one of those comedies which is really, really popular, but it's so goofy and so over the top that I don't think I'm going to like it. Holy shit, was I wrong. This movie's going up in amazing, in my opinion. This movie is very goofy. Once again, it's a comedy movie that wants to let the movie just let all the comedy flow in the movie, you know. This movie, even though a few of the scenes and jokes and comedy parts in this movie are quite maybe lazy, they're still damn fun to watch. Robert De Niro in this movie is so funny as the dad, in my opinion, as the dad in this movie, as Pam's dad. Ben Stiller in this movie, or Greg that he's called in the movie, is great. I don't know what to say. It's a really simple movie to watch. I think it's really funny, and it's extremely over the top, but they do it in a good way, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. You know, yeah, I do think, like, Robert De Niro, obviously, as a dad, he's not supposed to be that likable, you know, he's very protective in this movie, definitely, holy shit, but, this movie is something I really, really appreciate. And because I like this movie so much, Meet the Parents, because I like this movie so much, especially as a comedy movie, I had to watch the second movie, and I watched the second movie, I think, only like 2 days later, or the next day, or something like that. And, you know, this is a pretty good sequel. It's definitely not as good as the first movie, but Meet the Fockers, or whatever, the second Meet the Parents movie, or whatever, second movie in this trilogy, right? This is a good movie. I think it's a pretty good sequel, you know? It's nothing, like, insane or anything, but I think it's still, it doesn't, I think it has moments in the movie which I don't think are which I don't think are that funny, but I still do think they're funny. Still has the over the top funny moments, the poor Ben Stiller that you're thinking, but it's like, I don't know what to say, man. It's a good movie. I had fun with it. Definitely not as good as the first movie. The comedy, I think, is weaker in this movie, but I still think it's good. And I don't know what to say. The characters are great and stuff. For what the movie wants to be, this is a good comedy movie, you know? I don't know what to say, in my opinion. Ocean's 11. Alright, now, I'm not that big of a fan of heist movies. I don't think I've seen that many heist movies either. But Ocean's 11, this movie's going up in very good, in my opinion. We've got really many actors in this movie, which we know. We've got Brad Pitt in this movie, right? We've got Matt Damon, right? And then we've got, I think, some other people. I think I forgot the names, but we've got pretty damn many famous actors in this movie. I think we've got, we got Julia Roberts in this movie? No, maybe I'm thinking about the wrong person. Julianne Moore. Julia Roberts or Julianne Moore. I think it's one of those actors in this movie. I don't know, but I mixed them up, alright? Maybe that sounds fucked up and weird as hell, but Julia Roberts and Julianne Moore, it's hard to know. One of those actors are in this movie at least, and they're great in this movie. So I don't know what to say. I'm not that big a fan of the heist movies. I did think that the movie was maybe a bit too slow and stuff, but it's a movie, you know. And I did think that the comedy in this movie, in the movie, I thought it was funny sometimes, but it wasn't that funny in my opinion. But it's still a very good movie, especially for what it wants to be. I don't really know what to say. It's going in very good. Now we've got Immaculate. This is a movie, you know, I haven't seen that many religious horror movies, you know. Like, even when it comes to, like, demon possession movies, you know, demonic possession movies. Obviously, The Exorcist being the most clear and obvious answer, you know. I thought the first Exorcist movie was really good. I don't think it's an amazing movie, but I definitely do understand why people thought that it was scary back in the day. But when people say that it's like scariest movie of all time, I definitely don't agree. But Immaculate, this is like a non-horror movie, but it's okay. I think my cat wants to go in or something. 1 second, everyone. I don't know what to say. Immaculate. I thought this movie was very good. I'm going to put this movie up in very good. The movie doesn't have that big of a story in the movie, but it's basically Sydney Sweeney is in this movie. She's the main star. She's the actress in this movie. The main... Oh, my God. Sydney Sweeney is the star in this movie. I mean, she's really good. I forgot what her name is in the movie, but she's really good in this movie. This movie has some pretty creepy parts, you know. The movie does have a few obvious jump scares and stuff, but, you know, it's nothing like, it's definitely not something insulting. I don't know what to say. For what this movie wanted to be, I thought it was a very good movie. First I was even going to put it in really good. Like, I thought it was like a 9 out of 10 movie for what it wanted to be first. But, you know, and then the ending of the movie I thought was very predictable. And I thought that a few scenes went on for a bit too long. But, yeah. I don't really know what to say. I thought this movie was very good. Yeah. Now we've got Freddy's Dead, and holy shit, this movie's going in very bad for me. Freddy's Dead. Oh boy. Listen, first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, I'm just gonna go. First Nightmare on Elm Street movie, I think is very good. Big fan of the movie. I think it's like an 8 or 9 out of 10 movie. That's a movie that I have to rewatch. The first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, I definitely have to rewatch sometime, maybe not, depends if I remember whatever, but something like that. I think it's like an 8 out of 10 movie, maybe first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. The second one, which a lot of people don't like that much, and then a few people think the movie's just okay, and then a few people love the movie, thought the second one was good. The third movie I loved. I thought it was amazing. I you know, if I rewatch the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and then I watch then to fresh up my thoughts, then it's going to be a competition if I like the first movie more or the third movie more. Controversial, I know, but yeah, I don't know. The fourth Nightmare on Elm Street movie I thought was good. Fifth one I thought was like, nah. Like, it's the fifth one's obviously right here, but and then this movie, holy shit, this is a very bad movie. I mean, Freddy isn't scary in this movie. This is a very easy movie to talk about, in my opinion. First of all, Freddy isn't scary in this movie. The movie has some pretty weak kills. You know, there's one kill in the movie that I think is pretty good. I mean, oh no, now I was thinking of the fifth movie, never mind. There's one kill in the movie which I think is pretty good, but it's also a pretty damn goofy kill and stuff. The acting in this movie, it isn't very good at all. I don't care about the characters. Don't think that the movie's scary. Don't think that the movie's creepy. I don't think that the kills are that good at all. This movie was a pretty big pain to get through, you know. I don't think the movie's terrible. I don't think it's like a 2 out of 10 movie. I don't think the movie's even more terrible. I don't think it's a 1 out of 10 movie. I do think this is a very bad movie, though. Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare was a pretty big disappointment compared to even from the fifth movie, which I didn't think was that good. Even from The Dream Child, this is still a pretty big drop down. Like, this movie could go in terrible, but maybe it's just not that bad yet. But holy shit, this movie, what the fuck is this? Now we've got Fresh. This movie's going in good. Now, this is a very bizarre movie. The person who plays the evil guy in this movie, I don't know, I don't remember his name, I think, but this movie has a pretty simple premise, you know. It's a pretty creative movie, and it has a pretty creative premise, but it's nothing like insane. It's basically about this girl, and she's like, she doesn't believe in... Oh, am I thinking about the wrong movie now? I have no idea. It's about this girl, and then she goes to the supermarket, she sees this guy, and the guy wants to get her number, or whatever, and the guy seems innocent at first, or whatever, and then the movie just gets pretty insane from there. And it's a pretty gross movie. It has some gross images and stuff. It's a pretty bizarre movie. But it's something that I've seen before, you know. In the beginning, I was just like, oh, should I put this movie in very good, you know? But I was just like, no, I don't know, man. You know, this is definitely a good movie. But it is something that I know that I have... This is something that... An idea that I think that quite a lot of people can come up with. It's I bet there's a lot other movies that are quite similar to this movie, and I don't know what to say. I thought the ending was predictable. I thought the movie was maybe just a bit too slow. movie had some stupid decisions and stuff, maybe, but I don't know. You know, it was a good movie. I was just looking through Disney Plus, and then I saw this movie, and I was just like, alright, let's check it out. I think it's a good movie. That's enough said. Now we've got Monty Python and the Holy Grail, or whatever. Oh boy, oh boy. Alright, I'm sorry everyone, I'm gonna split up the video in two or whatever. Well, not really, you guys aren't gonna really see, it's just gonna look like an edit, but I have to go to the toilet now, so yeah, 1 second. I'll be right back.